Welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen. It's really two programs in one. This is a series that appeals to your creative side. Food that is sumptuous stuff. How can that be? This is a program about people who want to eat healthy and reduce calories. Actually, it's about food with an aromatic quality that fills the nose. Oh, sure, but it's also about keeping my arteries clean by reducing fat. But it doesn't mean a thing if the food isn't rich and colorful. Maximize the flavor. Okay, but I must have healthy food that I can cook in minutes. I must minimize the risk. So welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen, where we get our heads together just for you. Hello, welcome back. I tell you what, this time, when I was a boy, that's an incredibly long time ago, I know, but I just want to tell you I've got a fresh memory. My mother, used to make me fish cakes, rissoles, croquette, with a little salmon and potatoes, and all bound together with a rich, creamy sauce, and then fried in breadcrumbs with tomato sauce on the top, and peas and things like that. Ever did that for you? Well, I'm not going to do that, but that's the sort of inspiration I've got for this one, because I really wanted to do a kind of fish cakey thing, but then it sort of, my mood ran away with me, and I've got something I think quite interesting. We're going to steam a fish cake rather than fry it. Oh, I hear you say, no, that's okay. And we're going to put over the top of that fish cake a little paprika to be able to give it the color which otherwise I'd miss with the breadcrumbs. And then around the outside, all strange things, a sweet corn and cilantro sauce. Does that sound nice? Sort of the sweetness with just little flecks of cilantro in it. Then around that, a piece of steamed curly kale, just to sort of set it off, some green peas over here, and some mushrooms. I don't know how to do mushrooms, but there we are. Some mushrooms cooked with some green peas just around the outside. Do you know, it looks very colorful, it tastes wonderful, and it doesn't have that load of fat in it that I didn't care about when I was a boy. You might not care about it now, but I care about it. So let's have a go, and I'll show you how it's done. Ha! There you are. All right. First things first, the salmon. Now, I'm going to use salmon for this because it's got a lovely color and it reminds me of the tinned salmon's idea. This is a fillet of salmon, and it's a nice sockeye, and you can see by the little markings on here, it's got lots of omega-3 fatty acid in it. And here is another piece here, which is a center cut. This is, you know, a steak is what it's called, or a cutlet in some places. But I prefer this piece because it cooks quicker and because it has less bones in it. And of course, you can always fiddle around and get the bones out. But this shows you, I've got markings on this picker-upper, and it's nearly 2 inches thick at the high point there. And that's an important thing to measure because you need about 6 inches, 6 minutes per inch when you're steaming. All right. Actually, when you're steaming, I didn't mean when you're steaming, but when you're actually steaming salmon. All right, we'll take a little freshly ground salt, not too much. As you will notice, there's quite a lot of salt goes in this because of the potato content. Pepper on the top, little black pepper, and drop that down. Now, see how wide that plate is? There is enough of a gap around here for the steam to billow up underneath. And we need that, but we also need it to reduce its juices, which come out of it during steaming, to be here on this plate. So that's the way it goes, and then the lid goes on the top, and that's 10 inches across, by the way, if you need to know how wide that is. All right? Good. Well, now we're going to set that timer up there for about 10, 11 minutes. That's roughly how long it will take. Good. All right, next item, potatoes. The potatoes in this one, not waxy ones, okay? Not the new waxy ones like that, but one like this. This is a russet potato, and they boil marvelously. They come up and they look wonderful. I boil this for 15 minutes. Chop them up into smaller pieces, like about this size here. Let's try and get a bit up for you. About that size. And this is what you do. Boil it for 15 minutes, drain the water off, then put a towel over the top of them, just like this one here, and put it on a very low heat, and it'll steam up, and the steam will come up into the towel there, and they will have like a flour on the outside. They're so dry, And you can't have moist, soggy potatoes in this dish. So then just drop those out, or you can, oh, look, isn't that lovely? They've just been kissed by that heat underneath. They've got little brown, which isn't where it's supposed to be, but don't worry. Crush them quickly and don't let anybody see the brown. And it doesn't make any difference to this whatsoever. Now, just simply crush it down. This is what I call the collapsible pogo stick crusher. It's a simple idea. It's just a couple of things that squeeze together like so, and they're offset slightly. Great idea. And pop it down. Now, in addition to that, you put in 1 teaspoonful of freshly ground pepper. I didn't want to carry on all day long doing it. And a 1/4 teaspoonful of salt. See, one thing about potatoes are that they really soak up salt. So I need to put enough in it to be able to do that. You'll see the numbers at the end and how that reflect it. Okay, so those are the potatoes. They're crushed and seasoned there. Now, there's a cucumber that goes in this, and it's quite a fun idea. If you take a teaspoon and you just simply run the teaspoon down the seed pod center of the cucumber like so, you can get it out no problem. Just shoot that to one side. I've never found a use for that, by the way. That seems to be just tossed right out. And these are chopped through so that you've got tiny, well, not tiny, but quite discernible pieces like that. A whole cucumber, so you get an English-style cucumber. And just keep on going. It's fun. If you want to practice with a knife sometimes, that's an awfully impressive thing. That and a banana, those are great. Now, take those and pop those into a glass bowl. And these get the most extraordinary seasoning, really. These are the seasonings. Now, this salt, no problem, you know, 1/4 teaspoonful of salt, teaspoonful of dill, no problem with cucumbers. But cumin, you know, 1/2 teaspoonful of cumin in that, that's ridiculous. I mean, I had never heard of that. But boy, I'll tell you, when you stir that up and you smell that ground cumin, when you do that and you make sure that it's completely integrated over the whole thing, make sure that cumin seed goes all over, because there's one piece there which is drenched in it. All right, and you've got that ready, and those are steamed, and they're just terrific. Oh, that cumin seed is an amazing thing. Over here, I've got an 11-ounce tin of corn, and this is straight corn, no salt added, and just a certain amount of the liquid still left in the can, not too much, and 12 pieces of cilantro. Now, this is cilantro, you know, that marvelous, almost parsley-like, but it has this incredible flavor. It's a terrific flavor. But if you put too much in it, it tastes like soap. It's quite odd. So just 12 pieces. Now we'll run it, and just pulse it round. Well, whiz it round quite hard. What I'm doing is beating the little kernels out, and it sounds like Desert Storm, doesn't it? And just turn that off when it's been done, and thank you. And to this, add 4 tablespoonfuls of strained yogurt. Now, that's our strained yogurt. You see how thick it is? That's set up on a little strainer and for about 8 hours. And the whey comes out of it, and that has this beautiful, soft, marvelous mix. Now, then you start running it again slowly. You mustn't beat strained yogurt too much, because it really needs to have delicacy with it when it's added, because it doesn't have fat, and so you want to make a sauce with that. And this is a cool sauce with this, and it's ready. I mean, that is all you do in order to make the sauce. Now, I'm going to put some smoked salmon with the salmon in it. And I think, oh, yes, I know. I know it's a little expensive, but look, it gives a wonderful flavor and color and flex and taste and texture to the thing. So this is a hot smoked salmon. Again, it's a sockeye. The skin is stripped off and any little pieces of bone are taken away, and we've got that already there, okay? Now, we've got the salmon. Just let me see how much I've got. Oh, not too bad, nearly there. And here is the potato, the plunger, and get some of this smoked salmon now, and there's 1/4 pound of smoked salmon. Pop that into the top, and that's salty, of course, but so are capers. The small seed from a Mediterranean bush in North Africa, as well as just in the southern part of France as well. And it's a small trailing bush, and they pickle the unformed buds. They're really interesting. It's really not so much the seed, but the unformed buds. And they have a lovely flavor. Now, what I'm doing is obviously just pogoing this together. And in a second, when this salmon is ready, which is almost ready there now, so let me show you what this looks like. Get a cloth, lift up the steamer, right, like that, and place that down over a really well done bowl. You know, when I say a well done bowl, a nice solid bowl. Take the lid off, and you see what happens. The tray, being not fixed, is able to be lifted up, and we'll let that cool down so that I can handle it. In the meantime, isn't this wonderful, Simon? In the meantime, let's pop over to the supermarket, okay? And we'll actually find out what we need to know about how to shop for fish. Oh, there's the supermarket over there. Let's find out about fish. All right, thanks, Graham. Oh, when you're shopping and you come into this part of the market, do you sort of kind of walk past this as if you don't really know? Maybe you've had a couple of pieces of fish from time to time, but you know, you haven't really known how to order this and you don't know how to make the right buy. Well, just a couple of little pointers here. There are inexpensive fish and expensive fish, obviously. And for fish cakes like we're doing today, you could use scallops if you wanted to, but frankly, you know, at $9 a pound, I really wouldn't do that. You could use some prawns in that. That's quite good price, you know. Here, how about this? Dover sole at $4.99, or how about the fresh rockfish at $2.69? And another fish that you get about the same price as that would be perch. Which can be quite low down on the ground. But check that it is fresh, because you can't get away with anything which is low priced because it's not fresh. Kelly, if I wanted to check the freshness here now, and I'm sure people who don't shop a lot for fish would be nervous about this, can I say to you, can I sniff the fish?
Yes, people do it all the time.
They do?
Yes.
Over there. And it's not just here that they do that. Okay.
No.
Well, if they do that, and then how do you do that? How does it look like to them?
Well, we get a piece of paper and we put the fish on it and reach across the counter, and they can get their nose as close as they want to.
Good. And is it true to say if you sniff fish and it smells of the sea, it's okay? If it smells like fish?
Yes. You can tell by your smell.
Okay. So you'd be able to help them out if they don't know?
Definitely.
And you don't mind?
Never.
Bless you. I know you wouldn't mind, but anyway, Kelly's great. Look, when I put this particular dish together, I started out and thought, well, hey, we got a lot of crab around, so you can get your own crab, and this is Dungeness crab on the west coast, blue crabs on the east. But this little fella here, about 2 pounds, by the time you got the meat out of it, which is about 5-6 ounces of meat, it actually costs about the same amount of money. So you might just as well save yourself the trouble, unless you can catch your own, in which case, then cook it and peel it and do all of that. Now, what we decided to do was to be able to make it with salmon. And I looked at the cost of salmon. This little fella here is about $4 a can, and it should always be red. Look for red sockeye. So you've got the good color for this particular kind of dish. But look, come over here for a second. This is Alaskan king salmon here at $8.99 a pound, and that's for half a pound. So you get some idea that, hey, it may be perfectly all right to go with the fresh. All right, one quick thing. If you're putting a little bit of smoked salmon into it, which I like to do, this kind of smoked salmon, older smoke, and you get it in a shrink pack, that's about $9 a pound. This fella here is $24 a pound, that's lox. Or you could get lox trim. You might like to ask your seafood merchant about this. You see this is the trim which makes this so beautiful. Well, this is only $7 a pound, $6.99 a pound. That's pretty good pickings. All right, back to you, Graham. Thank you. That's good information. Everything will have gone up at least $1 by the time you hear that. Okay, now I've crushed all that up together, and by the way, you might find little bones in it, and there are a few bones even in the fillet. And so they'll become apparent. You'll crush everything up except the bones. Just watch it as you're doing it. Okay, put that down one end so I can just deal with this. Now, the next thing is we're going to steam the cakes. Now, I'm going to mold these up for you in a moment, but you just take the cakes like that, and you place them, you just reverse the whole system, one that we did before. Just lift it up like that, place those down on the steamer, wind the steamer up high, put this one on top because we want to steam more than just the one thing. Get 4 nice large of well-washed curly kale, make sure there isn't any grit in the edge, put that on the top, and then put that incredibly seasoned cucumber on the top of that. All right? Lid on, and about 4 minutes. Great. Now let me show you how you'd mold one of these things. So I'll tell you what I'll do first of all, because I think it would be useful, because otherwise they'll be raw. We'll take mushrooms. Now the mushrooms are, you know the way I love to do mushrooms. There's one mushroom there, which is just simply cut in those pieces. We're going to have more than one mushroom. And then 8 ounces of those are put into the bottom of a pan. Now the pan's on about medium-high, so you can just push the mushrooms out on there and get the juice of 1 lemon, which is coming out there, at least it will eventually. This is a marvelous thing. If you've got one of these, you know that most times they work perfectly, and then that one time, especially when you're on camera, it doesn't. Let's see whether it works this time. So you put it on there, squeeze it. I want the juice of 1 lemon completely. All right. Now, here it goes. Ah, look, isn't that wonderful? Thank you. Oh, look, it's going on forever. All right, there. So that's done, and they're actually sauteed in lemon juice without anything else except just a little bit of black pepper over the top. Now, whilst those are cooking down, we'll just remind me about put peas on there. Okay, thank you. All right, so now the peas are there. Now I'm going to simply mold one of these things, just to show you how it works. You get this back, and all you do is you simply get a good dollop of it. Now, no cream sauce, no butter, no eggs, just that dry potato, which is mixed now with those seasonings nicely. Got that, get the plate and tap it like this. See, doesn't that look neat? And then you just squeeze that down like so, and you do 4 of those. I mean, that's as quick as it can be, just around the plate like that, put them on, and off you go. Now, I've allowed 2 of those per head, so that's quite a lot. I just wanted to see what one actually looks like. Let's build it and show you what happens. Before you're finished with these mushrooms here, just put a cup and a half of peas on the top, fresh green peas, stir those in so that the mushroom and the peas are together. Now that's a very nice, simple dish. Quick. All right, let's have a look. Now you just simply take your steamer apart in the way that you would normally do. You remember how we did this before? Just simply take this up and drop that down over the top of a bowl. And I can't see a thing, my glasses are fogged up. Ah, you've come back again. And what we'll do, oh, here they are, is we'll take a little kale, first of all, put that on the dish, and then take these fish cakes and drop the 2 fish cakes almost on the top first. But first of all, before we do that, sometimes I can't get it undone. It must be my age or what I eat. So you get a couple of spoonfuls of that wonderful sauce underneath, okay? And then slip the 2, isn't it wonderful you've got a long spatula like that? Just slip the 2 on the top. Put a little paprika on the top of that, which gives them that color which otherwise they may not have, and it gives that marvelous color to it. And then you just simply take your peas and the mushrooms there. Oh, it's a great dish. And some of those incredible cucumbers with the cumin. It's just terrific. All right, let's see how it tastes. Come on. Turn the gas off first. Oh, gas? No, it's electricity. Sorry, come on. It is absolutely amazing, actually, when you've got a brown fried surface, which you actually love. You know, see this brown surface in here? And with the sauce over the top of it. Now, that is a fish cake. But this one, with the red on the top, with the paprika, it's just amazing. All right, so that's what we were looking for. Let's have a look at the numbers. Instead of 565, we've got 396. That's quite a drop, you know. And from 32 grams of fat has dropped down to 9, which is a tremendous change. 48 grams of carbohydrate. 21% of the calories come from fat. We'll talk about that a little bit later, perhaps. And then cholesterol, 67, and sodium, hey, up to 600 because of the extra amount of salt here and there that had to go into the dish. Otherwise, believe me, it's so bland you think, why did I go to all that trouble? Here it goes. There's just a dab of that with the, oh, that's cilantro, and oh, it's so neat. You've got to have that sauce with that. It adds a creaminess to it, and when you add the crunch of the cucumber, wow, and such springboarding potential, don't you think? All right. Now this time, I'm going to have to put my glasses on. I thought that we'd have a look at fat grams, okay? Now, it's just something that I keep on blithely saying every time, now the fat grams are so. And every now and again I think to myself, do you know what I'm talking about? You know, that's the trouble. There's a sort of confusion in the air about this sort of thing. So bear with me. If you know all about this, you just sit back at home and just say, I know. I understand. Well, here, 1 gram of fat. Now let's see whether I can draw it. Do you know what that is? That's a paperclip. So an ordinary sized paperclip weighs 1 gram. So at any time you wanted to sort of pick up 60 grams of paper clips and, or 60 paper clips and then know what 60 grams was, you'll know how much it weighs. But 1 gram has 9 calories. Doesn't have 10, which would be more convenient, but it has 9. Now, I am the sort of chap, and this is very personal, and I don't mind being personal with you, who actually has 2,000 calories a day. If I have more than that, I put on weight. If I have less than that, I still proceed to put on weight. You know, that's the way it is. You shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, you should lose it. Okay, so 2,000 calories a day. Now, the American Heart Association says 30% of calories from fat. Well, what on earth does that mean, truly? Well, it means, in this case, 30% of 2,000 is, with my maths, 60 grams. Now, you know what a gram is. Now it's 60 paper clips. All right. Now, this dish was 396 calories. Do you remember that? I just chalked that up in a moment ago. So it's 9 grams of fat. That's how much fat there was in it. Multiplied by 9 calories. Hey, isn't this fun to be back at school? That equals 81 calories. 9 nines are 81. Now, the way I work that out is I simply divide the 396 into 81, put a couple of noughts on, make it easy, and that comes out 21%. All right. So I know that's 21% of calories from fat. Now, I get 2,000 calories a day, and my wife Trina has 1,500 calories a day. That's G and that's T. And those are grams. Now, how many grams of fat do we have? Well, in my case, I allow myself 50 every day, and Trina allows herself 30. That's the way it is in a sexist community, isn't it? Actually, she's smaller than I am. She has 1,500 calories, and also she's had a bad heart, as you might have known. She's got 222 cholesterol, I have a 165, so I've got a bit more fat than she does, and I'm bigger than she is. So I have about 22% of calories from fat, and she has 18% of calories from fat. That's just the way it is. Are you more confused than you were before you started? I hope not. What you could do is always record these little bits and play it back afterwards. That's great fun. I make sense then. Hey, this is just a terrific dish. It just reminds me of when I was young. And let's face it, we need all the remembrance we can, can't we, of things like that. God bless you. See you next week.